You ain't gotta worry. Just keep walking, keep
Hey everybody, welcome back to Scrundily TV. Is this one? I think so. Um, so I'm gonna just hold it like this because it don't be clipping to my shirt or whatever. So today we're gonna be talking about, as you can see from the title, my first boyfriend and my only boyfriend, if you want to call it that. So let's start off in high school. It was my hold on y'all, because it was a couple years back. It was my senior year, I think. Yeah, it was like my senior year, junior year, one of those two. And okay, so it's this boy. We're gonna call him because I don't want to give out no names. So we're gonna call him Junior. That's not really his name, but Junior. He was nice. He had like. Do I want to give the description? He was a little bit like. What am I? I'm like 5 foot. He was like 5'7", 5'8", maybe like 5'9", something like that. He was on buff side, so he was a little bit
Security heavy.
more built, if you want to say. And then he had like a beard, brown skin, yeah. But he was nice at first. At first I really didn't notice him. And he didn't notice me either because he went to school with me for 3 years and this was his final year speaking to me. Um but we started talking, I guess, and we had one class together. Well, we had two classes together, but the one class is when he started talking to me, and he just sat next to me, and he was like, "Hi," whatever.
Hi.
And we had seen each other at lunch, and he started talking to me about like questions, random questions like what you want to do for your future and blah 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 blah. What's your name? Stuff like that. And then when we went to class together, our first class together was science, whatever. So that's when he really started talking to me. In English, we didn't really talk together because we didn't sit together. But yeah, he started doing flirtatious things, I guess. I don't know. It was really slow, but real nice and patient. I was still trying to get my vibe on him, I think. So long story short, we started texting or whatever, started getting each other number, started texting on Instagram, and then we moved to like iPhone messages or whatever. We started doing that, and then when does school start? School starts like September, so this is like October, November, I guess. So yeah, we started talking, and then everything was chill, I guess. Everything was fine. And then, long story short, he asked me to be his Valentine, right? On Valentine's Day, he asked me to be his girlfriend.
I want you, and I'm gonna have you.
So yeah, I had brought him like some, like, like the heart shaped box with the Reese's inside because he said he liked Reese's. So I got that for him, and then he made me some chocolate covered strawberries. They were good. They were real chill. Um, and everything was fine. He also had a class with one of my friends, so like they would talk. They were friends themselves before me and him started talking. So everything was fine, and then of course on Valentine's Day he asked me to be his girlfriend, and I was unsure because the only time that we talked together was on the phone, and it wouldn't even be like long, and it wouldn't be like 24/7 either. So we was only talking for like, okay, we started talking in school, and then like in January or February we started getting each other's no, like January we started getting each other's numbers. And then that's when we started talking on the phone. And then we went out to like the park together like one time and been on one date. He took me to pizza and a movie, and I was cold in that movie, y'all. I was really cold. I was shivering, and he gave me his jacket. Nice gentleman. Um, and then later on, he was like, yeah, he was cold too. So I don't know, but that was really cute. I met his mom. His mom took us there, and then I met his sister in the car. I'm like an awkward person sometimes, so it was a little bit awkward. But anyways, we only went on one date, and we only went to, and yeah, we didn't FaceTime a lot. So it was like, where did the asking me to be a girlfriend come from? It was like a rush, but like I felt like to be nice, and then I also liked him. So I'm like, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I said yes. He did it in a way to, like, he wrote down something, and he was like, will you be my girlfriend, yes or no, type thing on the piece of paper. And I was like, yeah. We still continue to talk or whatever on phone, but again, we still never really went on any dates or anything. And then in school, we would sit next to each other in that one class. In the other class, we did not sit next to each other because it was like assigned seats, I believe. Time jump. He, like, it was like a month or so before prom, and he asked me to go to prom with him. It wasn't weird. He asked me how I would ask, how would I want to be asked to go to prom, and I was like, he was like, do you want something big or simple, or like in front of people? I was like, something simple.
2 seconds later.
He was like, you want to go to prom with me? I was like, yeah, I go. We picked out our colors and everything. I wore like this blue dress. Wait, no, was it blue? Yeah, it was blue. And everything was cool. Everything was chill until my feelings were sinking in a little bit more. Now, I was already hesitating on saying yes to be his girlfriend because we only been talking for a short amount of time, and we didn't even, like, I understand if we went on like more dates or just went out and did more stuff outside of school, but we didn't. I haven't even been to his house. So he hasn't even been well, he been to my house to pick me up, but I haven't even been to his house unless it was to drop him off. I've never been inside his house. I never met his dad in person. I never met any of his peoples in person. Neither has he met mine. So I'm like, it was a little bit weird. My feelings started to change, and it was on my mind for like a week.
It's not going, you know what I'm saying? It ain't going, nah, it ain't going.
Like, should I tell him? Should I not? Like, I don't want to be in a relationship, whatever, stuff like that. I even talked to my friend that's also friends with him, because she was like, honestly, my only friend. But like, I still talk to people, like other people, but they were more like acquaintances. But anyway, so I was like really trying to ponder it. I was texting her. I was texting my cousins. I was like, should I really do this? Should I not? Like, it's been on my head. Like, I don't want this to just seem going in the wrong direction, because he really seemed to like me, and he was talking about future plans and stuff like that. Like, he even said he cut off all his girls from me. So I was like, okay, this is getting a little bit serious, you know? So I should really communicate how I feel now, and before it starts to get somewhere, and I don't want to be in that situation or put him in that situation and my feelings don't match his. So the only free time that we had together, or I didn't want to break up with him over phone, because who does that? And then he didn't live too far, maybe like 5 minutes away, by car, but by walk it's a little bit farther. And I didn't want to do it over phone or in a class. That would be so weird around all these people. So the only time I could really do it, I said, do you want to meet up with each other over breakfast or whatever and talk about stuff that's going on in a relationship? He was like, yeah, we could do that. So we talked with each other and stuff like that, and And then it's like, you know how you ponder stuff in your head before you say stuff? That's what I was doing all week, and just like during the sit down with him at breakfast. We was we was at the table, like a circular table, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready to be in a relationship. And I could see his face drop. His face was already like plain, like he got like that plain face that like you might think he got a mean face, but like that's just how he is. That's just how his face is. But like I can see his face drop.
What are you saying? What are you saying? What is he saying?
And he was like, why you say that and whatever. And I honestly think I could communicate it better with my answer. I just was like, what did I say? I said like, oh yeah, I just think it's the wrong timing, something like that. And then stuff going on with school, and we was about to go off to college. So yeah. And after that, everything was just weird because we got the same friends, 2 classes together, and yeah, he moved his seat back to that one class. We didn't really text, like we didn't text at all. Um, yeah, that was really weird. And then I wasn't sure if we were still going to prom together, but we seemed like we were. And but the thing was, he got his suit. I mean, we agreed on a color, but you know, like fabrics can be different colors. We agreed on a color, but he had got his suit and stuff already. And my sister was like, "Why would you do that without actually matching the color that I was wearing?" And I was gonna give him like a piece of fabric that my dress was gonna be made of. And yeah, and then he texted me like later on that day. This was like like 2-3 weeks after, and he had texted me later on the same day. He was like, "Yeah, I don't think this is gonna work out, this prom thing." And I'm like, "All right, cool," because I was like, "Okay, cool,
Okay. Whatever you say.
whatever." Um, so that was honestly the last time we really texted, but we still had the same amount of friends. Um, and then one of his friends, which is more closer to him, she was like, yeah, something, something, blah, blah, blah. He might be going to prom with another girl. And I'm like, another girl? Okay, cool. I don't really care. And then she was like, yeah, she looked like Sade. And I'm like,
What the hell are you talking about, bro?
what? She looked like me. Okay. He had already told me like he into like thicker boned girls, like thicker girls. But I'm like, look like me. What does that even mean? Why would he like, huh? But you know, that's okay. So the rest of the year was cool. Then prom came up and I was looking cute, whatever. I did my makeup, did my hair. My sister did her thing with the makeup, wore my dress, went to prom. Somebody actually had like the same dress as me, and I was like, what the heck? But it looked different, a little tiny bit different, and also because it's different body types. She was a little bit skinnier, but yeah. And then he had on his suit, and it kind of matches my color, and I could have kept it, but I felt like it was already weird and awkward, so we might as well not have went to prom together. But we sat at the same table. It was awkward. We played Uno, yes, Uno at prom at the table, and it was cool, I guess. We sat like across from each other, so thing was awkward, but it settled down after a while. And then graduation came up, and like afterwards, like after we came out the building with our cap and gowns or whatever, everybody was outside. The 3 of us, me, my friend slash his friend, she was a girl, and then him, we was like, they were talking and I felt like out of place, so I had to like, yeah. And they were talking, and then he was like giving me a handshake, and we were laughing because he was like, I don't know how to good handshakes or whatever. Me and that friend, we went to like out to eat after. We was in a car, and I was like, I want to say something because I didn't want to leave off like that. So I had texted him, and I was like, did I give like the good handshake or whatever? And he was like, yeah, something, something, something. And yeah, and it just left off at that. And I think it was real casual, real chill, you know? Then I thought it left off at that. I honestly thought it was over.
One eternity later.
Of college, or like before the end of college, my first year, well, my only year. He had texted me, and he was like, how's college or whatever? And I was like, it was real chill, real nice. I was just talking about him, about my experience. I had made a video about that, y'all. Go look on my Scrum Daily TV channel. But yeah, we was just really talking about that and his college experience. And then he was like, I forgot what he said, but he was like, you want to meet up or something like that. And I wasn't sure. And then I forgot how that ended, but it just ended awkwardly. But that was the last of that. I might have looked up his page 1 or 2 times just to see what he was up to, because I was bored. But I would never lead on somebody if I'm bored. I would just like, I didn't think of texting him. I didn't think of calling him. I deleted all his stuff. Like, I was not even thinking about it. I feel like once something is over, it's over. I couldn't get away from him. He was in the same class as me, so if we made eye contact, it would be awkward or anything like that. So we just like stayed away from each other, kind of, as much as we could, with being it like, yeah. And he asked me to be his girlfriend on Valentine's Day, right? So that's like in February, right? So February, March. That March is when that's when I pretty much said, I think it was that March, like the end of March or like the beginning of April. Like, I had told him, like, I don't think this, like, I don't want to be in a relationship, whatever. So that relationship only lasted like a month. I don't even know if you would consider that a relationship, I guess. Yeah. So that was really, really weird. That was my first and only boyfriend. But yeah, y'all. So I have no love life. I have nothing. So tell me, guys, what you think about the story. Tell me, guys, your opinions. Tell me, guys, about your first boyfriend or girlfriend, you know? And I would love to hear that stories. I really would. And I'll give my opinion in all honesty if you want me to. Hope you guys liked it. And I hope you like, comment, and subscribe. Go check out Scrum Daily TV. And also, and SOK. Also, do you guys like this hat? I think I like it. I made it myself, y'all. Like, I made it myself, and I really, really do like it. I might make more, and they might be different designs. Hint, hint. And I was gonna sell them on like TikTok Shop or Etsy, or maybe both. And I had already ordered the stuff, so stay tuned for those designs. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Hope you like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, bye bye.